Alright, we're given the problem 2x squared plus 10x plus 1 equals 13. And we could, if we were so inclined, do this graphically and graph two functions. Y equals 2x squared plus 10x plus 1. And the second function, fx equals 13, as we have right here. Okay, that would give us a nice, pretty graph with two solutions that I looked at earlier in the program of -6, 13 and +1, 13. So now that we know it can be done, we'll do it in the completing the square fashion and see if we come up with the same numbers. Okay? Always want to check by doing things in different ways. So first step is we'll do 2x squared plus 10x, and as we've done before, we're going to subtract 1 from both sides. We can get the constant over on the other side and clean up our act a little bit. So we get 2x squared plus 10x all equals 12. And it's not unknown that we would have a simplification at this point, which I do. Every term is divisible by 2. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2 and make my life a little easier. So I get x squared plus 5x equals 6. Now we're in the completing the square part. So I take my 5, and 5 divided by 2 is 5 halves, and I square it, which is 25 fourths. And of course I need to add that to both sides, 25 fourths. And we'll slide this up a little bit so we can see. So now we have a perfect square on the left side. This is x plus 5 halves, all squared. And, fairly conveniently, we have a perfect square on the right. Doesn't look it yet, but we have to combine these two into a single fraction. 6 is 24 fourths. 25 fourths gets me 49 fourths, which is really helpful because when I take the square root of both sides, I get x plus 5 halves equals 7 halves. And of course, this is also plus or minus. So my two values, the two values that I'm looking for here, are when x, subtracting 5 halves from both sides, -5 halves plus 7 halves, and -5 halves minus 7 halves, which give me two values of positive 2 over 2, which is 1, and -12 over 2, which is -6. Now if I go back up to the top and do a little bit of substitution, I can see that if I put in 1, I get 2 plus 10. Well, I lost part of my equation. There we are. I put in a 1. I get 2 plus 10 plus 1 is indeed 13. So I know that value works. If I do 6, -6, I get 2 times -6 squared, which is 72, plus a -60, which is 12, plus 1 is indeed 13. So I know my two values work. Looking back at the picture, I see again that values of +1 and -6 are the two results. And so I feel confident that I have solved all the parts of this. Okay, there we go.